Instagram photos. Welcome back to yet another tutorial video. Gotta give people what they want. So I want to share with you guys how I edit my Instagram photos, and hopefully you guys can achieve a similar look. The three main apps that I use to edit my Instagram photos are Photoshop, Lightroom, and VSco. I use Lightroom and VSco for any initial edits to the color, the tone of the image itself. I use Photoshop to add a little bit of a unique touch to the picture, whether that's isolating myself and adding more than one of me in the image, or adding little doodles or whatever that looks like. I like Photoshop for those additional edits on top of the image. So let's get started. Let's open up Lightroom and I'll show you how I do my initial edits. The first thing I want to start out with is I can see that the image is tilted to the left slightly. So I'm going to open up my crop tool, click auto, and it corrects it pretty perfectly. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to go ahead and click my healing brush tool. And now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to take away all of these little distractions. So starting out with here on the left, literally it's so easy. There you go. Same thing over here. Looks incredible. Erase this up on top. Incredible. Fix some of these nasty doors. Oh, that's a bit harder. Cool. And then I'm gonna take this guy away. Okay, that looks pretty great. I don't see any more distractions. The image from this to this already looks so much better. Okay, awesome. So now let's go to the colors. So the first thing that I like to do is make sure that my whites are white. Let's bring up the exposure a bit first. Bring up the saturation. Bring down the tint. I already feel like this little bit of color adjustment looks better. I just brought up the exposure, the contrast, the saturation, and a bit of the shadows. That looks pretty good. A couple presets that I like are pretty much anything by Phil Chester. I like White and Reverie's presets. The Dolce pack is really cool. I kind of just like play around, but I also have my own presets that I've made for my images. I don't like to add anything super harsh. When I do, it's usually I bring up the saturation. That's kind of like my main thing right now, is I like that look. I added one of my presets on here and am now finishing any last touches. I think that looks awesome. It's a little bit saturated, but you lose saturation when you export from Lightroom as well as when you import into Instagram. Yeah, so there's that image. I really like how that looks. I bring up the saturation, bring down the highlights, bring up the contrast and bring up the saturation, and then add a little bit of tweaking with my preset. When I'm not using Lightroom for any adjustments in color or presets or this and that, I use VSco. I feel like VSco is a really nice subtle way of adding some color to your image as well. A couple presets that I really like are A6, C1, G3, and P5, rarely P5, but like sometimes depending on the photo. So let's actually bring in the same image. It'd look a little bit different since it's in VSco and not using my presets, but you'll see kind of the way that my images go hand in hand because I don't always use my presets. Okay, so I just brought the image into VSco. Here is my favorite, A6. I'm gonna bring it down just a bit. It brings the whites up, which I love. Bring the exposure up. Gonna bring the shadows up. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and bring my contrast up now. Awesome. I'm gonna bring my saturation up just a bit. Now I feel like I look a little bit red, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring my tint down a bit, make it a little bit green. I'm gonna bring my temperature down as well to even out that white balance. And then I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it to make this straight. Perfect. Actually, it looks like it needs to be a little bit more. Cool. All right, and I think I'm gonna bring the saturation up just a bit more now. Add a little bit of green in there. And there you go. That's perfect. Let's compare the image edits side by side now and see what they look like. Honestly, they look pretty dang similar. I would say that the only difference is maybe that the first edit is a little bit cooler. Wow, so there you go. Just use that same edit in VSCO and you'll get the same edit as me. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I've opened up Photoshop. I have this blank canvas. Settings for Photoshop should be 1920 by 1080 to make it this vertical length for Instagram. Okay, so I'm gonna bring one of myself in here. So what I wanna do is basically isolate myself and take out the background. So I'm gonna select this quick selection tool. I'm gonna hit Option and scroll to zoom in. And I'm just going to select my body to get the look that I want. And listen guys, I don't think I'm the first person who's ever done anything like this. Obviously, I'm aware of that. So when I say like, ooh, a unique touch to my photo, like I'm not like, I'm going to click this button right here. Wow, I like this yellow behind me. So now that there's like, what the heck is that, you know? My polygonal lasso tool. Still don't know if that's how you say it, but hey. Oh, before I do this, I gotta rasterize the layer. Now here we go. And I'm just going to remove the rest of the background that wasn't removed with the initial tool that we used. So just select it and keep clicking and removing the background that you don't want. Okay, and then there's a couple more spots that I want to clean up that I'm going to take care of. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the background. I'm gonna click export, and then we're just gonna do the exact same thing. So go back and select your quick selection tool and start tracing your body. Nice. Saving object number 2. Okay, and then we're gonna bring in one last one. Okay, rasterize the layer. Polygonal lasso tool, and repeat the process. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna save this last one. So I'm gonna bring in the background again. Actually, let's open a new one. So, IG 1080 by 1920. I really wanna play around with this yellow background. I think it's really cool. Let's bring in the images. They're all here, all 3 of me. Honestly, that looks pretty great. I really wouldn't do much else to this. I still feel like it'll catch my viewers' eyes. But I mean, yeah, other than that, I would maybe just add like a couple different like doodles. Let's try it. Okay, so I just added a new layer, clicked B for brush. I don't know, man, I'm just kind of messing around. I don't like that, actually. I'm gonna try this. Try something else. Even just the 3 little dashes above the middle one there, I think is cool. Maybe I'll just move it a bit to the left or to the right. I don't know, I even feel like that's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm happy with this. I would just leave it at this. I usually don't do like plain background colors, but I do think it's cool. I like to experiment and try something new. But let's try one more thing with these three little me's. So the dimensions were 1080 by 1920, but that is for an Instagram story. For an Instagram photo, it'll crop it just a bit smaller. So that's why you see these 2 little bars on the top and the bottom. But I just brought in the initial image that was just this center one of me and left the right 2 me's in there. And so it looks like it was just the original photo with 2 extra people, which I like too. I think this is really awesome. So I'm probably just gonna leave this. Maybe we can see if we can add the purple little dashes. I almost feel like it looks better without it, but this is the final image and I like it. And I think it's cool. So there you go. That is how I edit my Instagram photos. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Tag me in any of your Instagram photos if you try my style of editing. I'd love to see what you come up with. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week with another new video. Bye.